Hi guys, welcome to the video. So today I have a healthy pizza recipe for you. So let's get into the video. Right, so the base of this pizza is made from cauliflower. So what I've done is I've cut the cauliflower up and blended it so it's into a paste. And then I microwaved it for about 6 minutes until it was steaming and just let it cool a tiny bit. So the next stage is to remove the water. So we want to remove as much water as possible from the cauliflower because this is the bit that kind of gives it the base consistency. So if there's water left in it, then it's going to be more soft and floppy and you may have to cook it for longer as well. So what you do, you put it into a tea towel, wrap it up, and basically we're going to squeeze it over the bowl. This takes a while, just for about 5 minutes. You want to be consistent and just persistent with this, just to get all the water out you can. If you can see water coming out, keep doing it, keep going. Like I said, you'll have to cook it for longer otherwise and it could come out a bit soft. So it's a bit tedious, but just be persistent with this. And it's important just to also let it cool a bit after the microwave, otherwise you're going to feel it in your hands with the boiling hot water coming out of it. So I will just skip through this bit so you don't have to endure me getting water out of a cauliflower. But let's just explain as well. So getting a pizza down to, this is 550 calories it's going to be in this pizza, is a really hard thing. So most pizzas are at least 1,000 calories. So that's why I've chosen cauliflower for the base. And it basically is difficult. I wanted to get a pizza that was under 500 calories, but it was too difficult. So I've gone for 550. It gives you a bit of extra play with the ingredients. But it's still a great low-calorie pizza compared to what you would otherwise eat. So just to go through the ingredients as well. So this pizza is going to have 900 grams of cauliflower, which is what you can see there. Then there's going to be an egg. There's going to be 60 grams of EatLean low-fat protein cheese, and 50 grams of mushrooms and 50 grams of courgette, plus also 30 grams of tomato puree or passata. So once you have finished squeezing out the last bit of water, the next stage is to flavour the base slightly. So obviously a cauliflower base doesn't taste like a flour-based base. So just giving it a bit of flavour helps with the overall flavour of the pizza here. So I'm just going to whack it back in the bowl. Make sure it's all in there. So just to explain while I'm doing this pizza has 550 calories, 15 grams of fat, a lot of vegetable protein from the cauliflower, and cheese as well. 63 grams of protein there is, and 33 grams of carbohydrate. So the first thing I'm going to do here is add 20 grams of the 60 grams of cheese. This, as I said before, is a reduced fat, high protein cheese. It's called EatLean. You get it from Tesco. You could use any other cheese, but just make a high calorie pizza basically. Next, I'm going to add some rosemary. Just gives it a tiny bit of extra flavour. You don't need to add it. And this is garlic salt, so garlic and salt in the same container. Just a little bit of that in there. And also I like to add a bit of curry powder. This gives it a bit of colour, but also a nice flavour. It's not hot, it's just enough just to give it some flavour. And finally an egg. So this egg will help keep the cauliflower dough together so it doesn't have the same texture and consistency as flour-based dough. So using an egg helps keep it together. And then we just mix that together, make sure it's all mixed well. just using my hand here. You could use a spoon obviously as well. But just mix it all in, make sure all that curry powder, salt, egg, everything, rosemary is just mixed consistently, evenly throughout the dough. And also, one of the reasons it's important to get so much water out of it is because you're adding some more liquid with the egg as well, so it gets sticky again. So once we've done that, what we can do is place it onto a silicone baking mat. So I've got a silicone baking mat here. It's non-stick and doesn't conduct heat, so it's really easy to get the pizza off afterwards. You don't need to use this, but I just find it so much easier. And then press it out with your hands, nice and easy. Just make a pizza shape. Obviously you could use a rolling pin, but I find sometimes it sticks, and as we're not using flour, then yeah, it kind of, we can't use anything to stop it sticking. I did forget to say as well, because we're not using flour, this is a gluten-free pizza as well. So added benefit for anyone that's celiac or doesn't eat gluten. Just make sure the edges are nice and even. And then once we have flattened it into a pizza shape, I've preheated my oven to around 190 degrees. We don't want it too hot. I'm basically going to place this into the oven for around 15 minutes just to dry it out. So we don't want it to burn or colour on the top, so I'm not putting it high in the oven, maybe middle shelf. And this depends on how much water you've got out of it basically. So that's basically in the oven for 15 minutes and it comes back like this, hot and slightly coloured. I probably could have done a bit lower temperature, maybe 180. And the next step is to add some tomato puree or passata. I've got 30 grams here I'm going to put onto the top. Just squeeze it out and basically just get it all over the top. And then spread it out with a fork or spoon. Just make sure you get it to the edges, because obviously when you eat it, you don't want any blank bits of the pizza. Next step is to add the rest of the cheese, so that should be 40 grams if you've added 20 to the base already. Spread that nice and evenly over the top. So this pizza has a lot of protein in it. As I said, you get a lot of protein from the cheese and the cauliflower combined as well. Next step is to add the courgette. I've pre-chopped this. Obviously choose the size that you want, and there's mushrooms in there as well. So that's 50 grams of each. Evenly over the top. So once you've done that, what I'm actually going to do here is spray the top with some Fry-Light cooking spray. This just allows the vegetables to cook with a nice sort of brown top. It gets you an even sort of covering of oil on the top there. And what I'd said before about the cheese, I only added half of the cheese. We've got the other half of the cheese just over the top now. So it was 20 in the base and 20 just over the base, over the tomato, and then the last bit over the top of the vegetables, just to give it a really sort of nice cheesy top as well. So I've turned the oven up to 220 now. I'm going to place this on the top shelf and it's going to go in there for another 15 minutes. So once it's finished, it comes back like this. So we've got a finished pizza. So yeah, there we have it, a vegetable-based pizza, cauliflower base. Got courgette and mushroom on the top and cheese. So basically we have just a load of vegetables and cheese here. And one thing, I didn't quite get enough water out of it. I didn't spend enough time getting water out of it. So the base is a bit soft. I should have cooked it for a bit longer, but you can basically get the idea here and use my mistake as a lesson, just spend some time getting the water out of it. But it really does work quite well. So there we go, looking good. And also, I challenge you to eat the whole thing of this and not be hungry, because there's so much fibre and protein from all the cauliflower. It's almost a kilogram of cauliflower. It really does fill you up. So essentially, I said it was 550 calories. You might just eat half of this with some extra veg. So essentially, reducing the calories by half in your meal. So here we go again, close up of the pizza. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Like, share and comment as always, and I will see you in the next one.